Hi, in this video I'm going to teach you how to configure PagerTree routers. Routers can dynamically route and modify alerts based on conditions. If you haven't already, make sure you're already familiar with the alert workflow. It's also highly recommended that you open the router's documentation page in a new tab. This will serve as a helpful reference while we configure the router. For this example, I've created two teams, the production support team and the development team. And as a refresher, routers will be processed after the integration has taken incoming third-party data, but before the alert has been assigned to a team. Before we can get started creating our router, we will need to enable Advanced Mode. We can do this by going to our Preferences page, then in the Other Settings section, toggle the checkbox labeled Advanced Mode and click Update. You'll notice once we've enabled Advanced Mode, the top navigation menu will now show an Advanced tab. In the Advanced tab, we will see a link to the Routers page. Let's navigate to the Routers page. Now, in the top right-hand corner, click the New Router button. Let's give the router a name. For this example, let's call it Dev and Staging Router, and provide the rule definition. Important to note, the code language is YAML. If you're not very familiar with YAML, that's okay. Just note that indentation is key when writing YAML. So as we go through this example, and as you write your own routers in the future, make sure you're using proper indentation. Lastly, let's select a default destination. For this example, we'll say it's production support team. The default destination should be a team that should get any alerts if no rules in the router match. The default destination is the equivalent of connecting an integration directly to a team. This router is fairly basic. The key pieces being routers are made up of many rules. Each rule has a single match condition and a single action section. In the match condition, you can use a very flexible MongoDB style syntax to match on alert attributes or time-based conditions. In the action section, you can do many things including aggregating alerts, dynamically assigning a destination, setting custom values on the alert, attaching stakeholders, and ignoring the alert altogether. Another thing that is important to note, rules will be matched in the order that they are specified in the YAML file, top down, so order is important. Again, all this information can be found on the router's documentation page. Now let's take a look at what this example router says. The condition says, if the alert title matches a regular expression containing the literal string something, case insensitive, then assign the alert to a team. Currently it has a placeholder value of team X, so we need to customize that for our needs. So let's open the development team page in a new tab. You can do this by clicking a link with the mouse wheel. On the development team page, let's copy the prefix ID by clicking the copy button. Now let's switch back to the router tab and paste the development team prefix ID in the receiver section where it says team X. Let's also change the regular expression to match something more meaningful. Let's match a string that filters out dev and staging alerts. So now the router reads, if the alert title contains dev or stage, then assign it to the development team. Great! Click Save. To test this out, we can manually create an alert. Let's test that the router actually routes it to the development team if the alert title contains stage or dev. So from the alerts page, we'll click the new alert button from the upper right-hand corner. In the form, make this title say Dev Alert Test. You can put any description and any urgency, but select the destination to be our new dev and staging router. Then click Create. If we've configured everything correctly, you should now see in the logs that the alert was routed to the development team because it matched one of our rules. Our next test should verify that the router sends the alert to the production support team if it does not match any of the conditions. So let's create another manual alert, but this time in the title we will put prod alert test. Again, add any description and any urgency. but make sure to set the destination as our dev and staging router. Click Create. And now we should see that the alert was routed to the default destination, the production support team. The last step would be to connect an integration to the router. So let's go ahead and go to any of our integrations and connect it to our router. Now, when an alert is created by this integration, it will use the rules in our router. This was just a basic example, but as you can see, the match conditions are very flexible. You can be as broad or specific in your conditions as needed. All of the operators that can be used can be found on our documentation page. It's also important to know that you can nest conditions, for example, using the AND operator. Now let's do a more complex example. In the second example, what we want to do is refine our dev and staging routers alerts. In this case, we only want dev and staging alerts Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., aka office hours. Everything else we should ignore. We could use a giant AND condition, but I want to show you how we can daisy chain our routers. So let's create a new router and we'll call this one Office Hours Only. Follow similar steps as before to create a new router, but this time set the default destination to be the development. I'll use a similar rule definition, but now in the match section, we use the not, and, day, and time between operators. And in the action section, we are using the ignore action to suppress the alert. So what this router essentially says is, if now is not in office hours, ignore the alert. Else, send it to the development team. The second piece of this will be to daisy chain our first router to the second router. So let's copy the office hours only router prefix ID, navigate back to the dev and staging router, and replace the team ID with our router ID. This effectively daisy chains the routers. It's important to know you can only daisy chain up to 10 routers deep, and you are not allowed to use circular references.